Andrew McGathan here alongside the prospect killer Artem Lobov. Artem, you said in your post-fight interview there, names don't matter. He's number one. You need to get to 7. Were you a little bit annoyed by the decision?
I was a bit annoyed, of course, because I've been at the end of a wrong decision many times. I've been, my win was called a no contest. I bet Saul Rogers, and that was a win for him. So I know what it's like. But I would be the first one to say if I was given the win that I felt I didn't deserve, I would be the first person in there shouting it and saying that I don't deserve that win. But that right there wasn't one of those cases. I think I dominated the guy throughout the whole time. You could maybe call the first round a draw because he did get a takedown on me, but I did reverse him, and he did nothing really on the feet. And second and third, I think I dominated pretty clearly. He pushed me against the fence a few times, but never got a takedown. I took him down a few times, landed some nice shots. I was attacking the whole time. He was always backing away. I don't think in the second and third he threw one punch. And as you know, I'm a counter puncher, and I love to counter punch. And when he wasn't throwing anything, it was a little bit obviously hard to do, but I felt I dealt with it pretty well. I was a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, because it was my first fight, and you don't want to fall on your first hurdle. And a bit of a nerves obviously played the part, but I think my next one I'm going to put on a better performance. It's in 2 weeks' time in Letterkenny, so watch out, it's going to be a good fight.
Artem, the guillotine, was that in any way tight? It seemed like you were very scrambly at the start. You got to the far side and there was no pressure anymore, but... Yeah,
even at the start, I would tell you if there was pressure, but there was no pressure at all. But I just know the defense to a guillotine coming from an SBG, I know I have to get to the other side, so I just made sure that, I got there, but there was nothing on that guillotine, so I was fine.
You mentioned Saul Rogers, and you said you'd like to fight him again. Has there been any movement since we last spoke about a potential matchup with him?
No, not on his part. I obviously offered the fight to him, offered it at whatever weight he wanted it, at 77 even, so he wouldn't have to cut. There was nothing from him, and to be honest with you, I've moved on from that now. I have my goal set on something else, and I'm working towards that goal now.
How do you feel about your opponent tonight saying he'll offer you a rematch if you'd like it?
Hey, I don't care. Like I said, I need 7. This was 1, 6 more. I'll fight him or his father or his grandfather. I don't care. I have no names for me, and that's not me being disrespectful. Like I said, I just want to get the 7. That's it. So if he wants a rematch, no problem. Let's do it.
2 quick things, Artem. You come out very, very vicious, throwing real hard strikes. Do you think it was in every fight now you're going to be thinking, if I win this, I'm one step closer to the UFC? Do you think this could maybe push you to be a little bit too forward in fights and you might get caught, or are you going to keep it under control?
I did feel I was a little bit maybe too aggressive, overcommitting on some shots at the start. Yeah, I wanted to finish this quickly, but this guy turned out to be like, I didn't know anything about this guy. No, he came from Brazil, never seen him fight, never seen him roll. He turned out to be a black belt. I just found out on the night when he was walking in he was a black belt. It didn't really bother me, but yeah, he was a little bit awkward, and like I said, he wouldn't throw anything really, just kept shooting, and it's obviously a little bit harder to, to finish a guy like this that doesn't want to exchange, but I felt I dealt with him pretty well, I was aware of his shots, I was, sprawling nicely, I was getting the underhook, and I got my own few takedowns, so I felt I did well, I needed that.
And finally, Artem, one last thing. You say you're fighting again in 2 weeks, but is there any fights planned for after that? And finally, if I can just ask, did you accept no money for the fight tonight? Did you give it to your opponent like you said you would?
Actually, this fight, apparently John agreed this fight before I had released that interview, so I am getting paid for this one and my next one. After that, like I mentioned
it'll be
before,
sent for the opponent, so they'll take the fight.
Well, I guess it's going to be up to the promoter, because my issue was that nobody would agree to fight. So whichever promoter was to, I said it to the promoters, look, you have my purse there to negotiate a deal. Make sure you get me a guy to fight. So whatever they do with it, if they still want to pay me at the end, hey, I'm not going to say no,
Artem Lobov, 1 of 7. If he wins his next 6 fights, he's been told he will get a shot in the UFC. Artem, we really appreciate the time. You look great tonight.